guys, welcome back to my channel, and as always and as I promised you, I will find somebody to interview to answer all your questions, and I have Miss Jackie here.
Hi.
I'm gonna ask you a bunch of questions.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do it. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Alright, so first off, what do you currently do now, like actively? Are you still scrubbing? Are you still a traveler? Are you a staff? Or just talk about that briefly.
So I just started a regular job as a staff member.
Okay.
I joined this particular hospital about 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago.
I ended my last travel assignment back in September, and right now I'm just working as a, yes, I am still scrubbing and just working as a regular tech right now.
Okay, so you were a traveler
Yes.
before,
Yes.
and for how long did you do that?
2 years.
2 years, and now you've decided to become a staff.
Yes.
Okay, and you're sticking with this for a little bit.
Yes, because being a traveler, the pay is great,
Okay.
but there's a lot of responsibility that comes with it. Not only, it's the way it works is, first of all, you have to be very experienced. You have to know all the services.
Okay.
Because when you are a traveler, there's different companies that give you contracts. Those contracts are based on 13 weeks only. Now, they give you a page of how many hospitals are looking for travelers, the times, the days of the week that you want to work, and the pay. You choose where do you want to go. You apply it if it's a regular job. The hiring manager calls you and interviews you and asks you, okay, so what are you specialized in, like vascular, orthopedics, neuro, or etc. Correct? You tell them what you're comfortable doing, and then they hire you. And they tell you the contract starts, for example, Monday the 3rd, correct? And it will last until so-and-so, but at the end of 13 weeks, you have some jobs are like you have to be here every day from 6:45 a.m. to 3:15, and you have to take amounts of call. So once you go in the hospital, they don't really orient you as of who's everybody, where's everything. They just kind of like, here's the OR, go ahead, figure it out. So 1 day of orientation for the places that I went to. And they show you where the supplies are, the ORs, and you work with one person one day and the next day you're on your own. So it's kind of challenging.
Okay, so I'm gonna piggyback on a lot of that stuff that you mentioned because I do have really specific questions about travel. So I think you've mentioned this already, but in your opinion, how many years do you think it's time for a scrub to start traveling? Because you mentioned that you do need experience. So how many years would you say?
I would say at least 2.
2 years in my example.
Right. The reason why is because you are kind of like, as a traveler, you're expected to know all the services and to be proficient at them. The reason why I say 2, if, for example, I waited a long time, but I said, my goal is to be a traveler in a couple of years. I will go into every room and I will learn every service and I will write down my notes. I will take videos, write your notes, take pictures, videos, and I have a folder in my phone where I have every different doctor's procedure, or
kind of like a preference card
like
for your own.
Correct, like my own cheat sheet. See, told you. Notes are always important because you're not gonna remember, oh, I worked with Dr. Smith last week, I'm gonna remember next week what he did. No, you won't, because you are constantly working with different surgeons that prefer different things. For example, you could do a total knee with this guy and he used this system. You do another knee with another guy, he uses a total different system. So that's why it's important. So circling back to your question, I think 2 years, perhaps 3, is the best, because if you have the goal in mind, I want to be a traveler, let me learn every service, because you are expected to know all the services because they're paying you a high rate.
All right, so next question. Walk me through your first day as a traveler on your first assignment. Do you remember your first day?
I remember like if it was today,
Oh,
and
yeah?
it was like a nerve-wracking because even though I'm an extrovert and I'm very friendly and I get comfortable right away, to me it was like a whole new world, because when you're a traveler, you're like a private contractor and you don't know what you're walking into, right? So my first day, I couldn't find the parking lot. Like the company didn't send me instructions as of where to park.
Yeah.
Mind you, I was nervous, so I got there super early and I figured it out and I walked through the entrance, and then I finally reached the OR and there was like no one there, and I was like, okay, am I too early? So it was really a different experience. So I walked.
So wait, were you too early, or you're not? I don't know.
I was a little bit early, but then there was no one at the front desk, so I thought I was in the wrong place. So I stood there, and people are looking at me, not even saying good morning. I said, hello, good morning. I'm a traveler tag.
Yeah.
It's my first day. And some people were like, oh, I didn't even know you were coming. So I was like, okay, good.
Okay. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. So then the manager came, and she was super nice, and she showed me around. She welcomed me. She took me downstairs to give me my badge, and then it was very different.
So you mentioned earlier in the beginning that they didn't give you orientation. I don't think travelers get like a real orientation like how we get it as a staff. It's because they expect you to already know. So it's even like a good thing that they showed you where little things where they are and stuff. But I think they really throw you guys out there in the wolves.
Yes. They do throw you out there, and you have to figure it out for yourself. You will find some people that are not okay with travelers, and they will, and they will be kind of mean to you a little bit. So you kind of have to like brush it off. And
here's the thing about travelers, okay? This is coming from a staff,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Not that we hate travelers, it's just the way that the management treated us versus the travelers. So for example, if you're very much experienced and you're getting paid this a lot of money, meanwhile staff don't get much, but why are they putting you in Sisto and I'm over here doing real heavy cases, right? That's where I have a problem with. So I know you mentioned that when you apply for these travel companies, you have to put what you're specialized in, right? So I was told this before, but they said if you don't do ortho, you don't have to do ortho. But then once you are out there as a traveler, they would throw you to ortho anyways. It doesn't matter. Or if you didn't pick ortho, they really wouldn't throw you in ortho. So if let's say you're only comfortable with vascular, that's all they're going to give you is vascular. Is that true or no?
It was not in my case.
Okay.
Because even though I went to a certain hospital that did pediatrics, and I never did pediatrics before, and I put it in my application, I do not do pediatrics. They still put me in there.
Exactly, that's right.
They put me in there, and what you're circling back to what you said about the staff gets the heavy cases and the travelers don't. Not in my case. In my case was the opposite.
Okay.
They had a lot of new scrub techs fresh out of school that needed training.
Okay.
So not only did they put me in the super heavy cases, vascular, ortho, neuro, everything that you could imagine, a new ENT doctor that had never been there before, I was also training. So it was like traveling with the heaviest cases, training the new techs, and even some of the nurses were like, oh, I don't know what this is. I was helping them as well. So it was very stressful.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
So not only like you're brand new in a facility, you didn't really get orientation, and you're paired with I want to say like not so good nurse. When I say that, I mean like not so familiar with the OR just yet. Like maybe still pretty brand new nurses, and you're training students as well.
Yes.
Wow, that's a lot.
Quite a lot of call, and they're like, well, you're a traveler.
Yeah.
That's what we paid you for.
Right.
So the staff was like in system rooms or doing little lipomas or little silly things like I call it. And meanwhile, we were like working really hard.
Right. Well, I mean, obviously it's not all, and I just find that in other facilities, they really do stick to what they say on the paper. Like if you really don't do vascular and there's a AAA and there's no one else, they would actually pull one of us staff to do that case so that this traveler could do other lighter cases, which I think my feelings are justified over there. Like, why is it that you're pulling me in my case to do something really heavy versus somebody you're just putting in cysto? That was a lot of drama, I guess, back then for me. But I guess in your case, that's a lot. That's a lot. I do see that some of the travelers are now training students, which I don't even know, is that part of your contract or that's just how the facility does it?
It is not part of your contract. However, there is like an area where it says where you charge, like being charged. So meaning like where you training, so they pay you a little extra for it.
Oh, really?
I never charged for it because I will always forget. And the times that I did charge, they were like, it wasn't approved by your supervisor. So it was like a whole back and forth with the money issue. And so I was like, I'll just do it out of the goodness of my heart because I do love teaching.
That's amazing.
So,
but you know what? Actually, I scrubbed with her in a couple of ortho cases, and I learned a lot of tricks from her. And I obviously I can't show you because it's orthopedic, but like you are a great teacher. I'm gonna say.
Thank you.
She's very calm, collective, and even though we worked for that surgeon was not very nice. He was not having a good day that day, and I was feeling some type of way that day because I was really this close getting kicked out because he really did look at me in the eye and said, "Do you want to be here?" And I said, in my mind, I was like, "No, I can go if you want me to." But she was the only scrub that day, remember? And I saw that she has this this brace on her arm. I was like, girl, what's going on? She actually uses a double decker. I hate that thing.
I do too. And that's why I had the tennis elbow, which is healed now, but it took a little bit to heal because the double decker, I'm short. So I don't like stacking things. So it really made my back hurt and my elbow like get really stiff because you're carrying all these orthopedic heavy trays that have like all this instrumentation and it's really heavy. So you kind of like lift and down and lift and down. So for me, I agree with you. I hate the double decker.
And I'm taller than her, so it felt like, oh my, I'd rather do 2 tables, L shape.
Me too.
But I think you mentioned that this surgeon likes the double decker.
That particular surgeon is obsessed with his double decker.
Maybe that's why they got that for him specifically.
I think so, and well, now they use it for other total joints and
neuro. I heard
neuro likes it, but I would never use it for neuro. Neuro trays are really, really heavy, and they're not only heavy, they're really thick. And they're like layered. Like some of them have 5 layers, 6, and there's like a billion things in there. So imagine you're like stacking that tray that has like 6 shelves. You could lose the screws and stuff while you putting up and down. So it's not for me. I wouldn't use it for neuro.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. Some scrubs love it, like more so on like less like tables and stuff. But I honestly, I can't even like for like well, I'm taller. I don't know how tall you are. 5'3". 5'3".
You're still short.
there are some scrub techs that are shorter than you that are students. Somebody sent me this cute scrub student. She's like super short. It was like 5 feet or something, and they gave her 2 stacks of the step stool, but those things are not very stable.
I don't like the step stools because I'm very clumsy, so I feel like I'm always gonna fall off. And they're not, like you said, they're not stable.
They're not stable. We have the orange one. You have the orange ones,
right?
But they don't exactly like fit together. But this girl is so short, she needed 3 of them.
That's kind of dangerous, though.
I told her, I said, no, don't do that. So they actually ordered her like this cool 2-step thing. It's really cool, and she's an ortho girl. I was like, oh my god, she's great. I'm glad that she really likes it. But so moving on. So obviously with the pay is, as a traveler, is more than the staff.
Absolutely.
Right?
It's a lot more. And this is the reason why I'm gonna say we travelers. We choose to be travelers because the pay is really enticing. It's like, oh my god, I'm gonna make this much money in a week, whereas I made that in like a month or something.
Right.
As a regular tech.
Right.
But there's always a but. Your taxes will be super high. You will go to another tax bracket, so they really tax you. All the on-call that you do will be probably deducted. So you'll be working for free because your taxes.
Not for free.
I mean, it feels for free when you see your paycheck and you're like, wait a minute, I did 20 hours on call. I should get this much after taxes, this much. No, honey, it's way less because of the tax bracket. So that's one of the things that you're like, oh, okay. So
I didn't think about that.
I didn't either until I was in that position.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, I don't want to take all this call because they're going to take it away from me anyway.
But the calls are mandatory.
The calls are mandatory, and some places you always stay. Some places treat the travelers different, and they're like, oh, they're expensive. Get them out of here. I don't want them to be on call unless it's truly necessary.
Right.
So it depends which facility you are at.
So when, for example, it's a slow day, can they send you home and still get paid?
No.
They cannot send you home.
They cannot send you home because the way it works, every hospital has a different budget for the travelers.
Okay.
So they pay, for example, this company that does the traveling contracts, right? So they already, for the 13 weeks, for me, they would be like, okay, this is for Jackie, and this is her contract. Let me send you a bulk payment for her contract. So they already pay the hospital. So if my charge nurse sends me home, I'm still gonna get paid because it was already in the contract. So they don't send you home unless you volunteer.
That's a good deal, actually. Your hours are always guaranteed. However, I did hear that if the facility just doesn't like you, they can cut your hours like that. So it was that. What is that?
That was my next point. So being a traveler is not all like, rainbows and butterflies, like I say. It has a lot of scary stuff, right?
Yeah.
If the facility doesn't like your personality or doesn't like you, or a nurse or a staff person is complaining about you, your contract will be terminated immediately. So meaning like you get fired.
Like today.
There was a facility I went to, which is, this is very interesting. There was a traveler, we were together in this particular facility, and the facility was very strict with their nails and their jewelry.
I talk about this all the time.
Guys, this is serious for some facilities. the person that the nurse that is the educator told this traveler tech, you need to remove your nails.
So
she
wait a
had
minute.
like acrylics,
Oh, like the
fake nails.
not the press-on stuff,
No, she had like acrylics,
like long.
but they weren't that long. They were kind of like short, but you could tell they were not hers. And this nurse that is the educator got really upset and told her, you cannot scrub with those nails. And she's like, yes, I can. And the nurse was like, no, it's in the policy.
Yeah.
We don't really get the hospital policy.
Yeah.
I mean, we do get it, but we really don't be like, oh, okay.
Well, like as a scrub though, you already know what that means.
But as a scrub, you should know better.
You should know.
So then they got into a heated argument. The scrub said, I'm not removing it.
Wait, hold on, back up. Is this her first day?
I think it was like her first week.
Oh, so
I
she's
don't
been doing
remember.
it.
So yes. So
Okay.
she's been doing it, and I think she got away with it in other facilities. Other facilities don't focus so much in certain things like others do, right?
Okay.
And so this particular facility is very strict about the nails. And she got terminated that same day because she refused to remove her nails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how does that look for a company that you work for as a traveler? Like if they find out that, hey, you're terminated today, what does that mean in your
So for the
company?
contract, so the company will never rehire you again because they will label you as difficult and that you don't follow the rules.
Oh, you're done. Like they're not even gonna
Wait.
send you another hospital or something.
If your recruiter kind of like puts it under the table and
Yeah.
does his manager,
Yeah.
perhaps he can find you a new job. But if this is like your second occurrence,
Yeah.
they're like, okay, she's very difficult, so they don't really call you anymore. So you kind of have to move on to
Oh.
another company.
Oh.
hmm
Wow.
Yeah, it's not so easy to be.
I
a
mean,
traveler.
like, you could. So how strict was this facility? Because I'm now curious. Because I've been to facilities that are very strict and some are just super lenient. So how strict is this facility when it comes to nails, to jewelry, to makeup, to everything?
Funny you asked that. They were very strict
Mhm.
with the makeup, the jewelry, and the nails.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I cannot wear like bright lipsticks or like I can't wear jewelry or
Yeah.
not even gel, nothing.
Like nothing. Yeah.
Like nothing.
Okay.
My hat, we have to be covered with the lunch lady hat.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I call
Yes,
it.
yes.
And they were very strict. No perfumes. So they were like super strict. with
Perfumes.
that.
I was talking about this
Mhm.
perfume before. Okay.
So they were very strict. However, I've
Oh,
been to
wow.
other facilities that really don't care.
Mm.
They care more that you do their job properly
Mhm.
and you behave professionally,
Mhm.
and they kind of like overlook at certain things. So it depends.
Wow.
Mhm.
Like the whole makeup and all, like fake lashes. I don't know. How does that?
Well, this other place that I told you,
The strict
about,
one though.
no lashes, nothing.
No lashes. Wow.
You can do minimal makeup.
Right,
but
but
not-
like not orange lipstick. Or,
Oh no, no,
Okay.
absolutely not.
Because I do see that some people do like a stud,
Mhm.
but just not never like a dangly thing.
You could do studs,
Yeah.
but it depends. Like they're like, oh, if you're gonna do your ears, you have to cover it. See how you have your ears covered?
Oh, okay, gotcha.
You could cover it.
Okay.
So
I mean, there's really no point. There's zero point of you're there to work.
yes.
For me, it's the nails. I
Mhm.
think it says a lot with the nails because
Yes.
if you have even schools really talk about this, guys. I'm telling you, like when you go to a facility, if you're in clinicals and you are in this strict facility, everyone is watching you from like your nails. Everyone
they
is
look at
watching
everything.
you.
Yes.
All right, so we're gonna move on to the next one. How is the work-life balance as the traveler? You mentioned your hours and your calls. How often and how do you balance this all out? Especially like if you have kids or you're married, how do you balance it all out?
The way I balanced it was I only took local assignments,
Oh,
only like 30 or 40 minutes from my home.
wait a minute, Becca. You never went out of state. That's what you're saying.
I did not.
Oh,
No. I went to different locations, but I didn't go out of state. And you also have to have a support system. Like my husband is extremely supportive,
mhm.
and he would help me with childcare. Our son is already bigger on the bigger side, but
Okay.
we work it out. You have to have a support system, but the way you balance it is very hard. It's very stressful,
Okay.
and you're constantly tired,
Of course.
especially if you work 5 days a week with
Mhm.
call, and you also have to work on the weekends.
Yes.
It's very stressful.
Yes.
So every time that I had off, I would spend it with my family. I wouldn't
Okay.
go out with anyone else that was just not my family. So it's kind of hard. So you have to have a support system. If you have a partner, a husband, or in children, you have, before taking an assignment, you
Yeah.
have to sit down with that person and tell them, look, this is what the contract is. Do you think that we can do this? Should I look for another contract to adjust to your life?
It's rough,
It's
especially. You mentioned the hours. It's 5/8. I can never work 5/8
It's
anymore.
terrible.
5/8 plus calls, weekends. Those are really rough
Yes.
stuff.
Yes, it was rough. And not only rough, I was there all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a huge facility trauma. You did trauma, right?
No, I didn't do trauma. I've never got the chance to do it, but I did other stuff.
Okay.
That was just as scary.
Yeah.
So
Wow. And you did pediatrics.
I did pediatrics. Yes.
Wow. I wanted to do peds, but I feel like I'm gonna cry.
I didn't like it because I'm a mom, so I would feel bad for the babies, and I'm like, oh baby. And
I just feel like the
focus,
instruments.
focus.
I just feel like the instruments would be so little and not that heavy.
They're little. Yes,
They're
they're
little.
little and cute, and the babies are so cute. And sometimes we had children like between all ages, so it's
Yeah.
different personalities, but they cry a lot.
Yeah.
I feel bad. I get distracted, so
I'm
it's
gonna,
not my favorite.
really, I
No.
really want to try it. Only because the equipment is much, I guess, lighter and smaller. Oh.
Yeah, it's not for everyone. I don't think it's for me. I do it
Yeah.
because it's part of my job, and of
Yeah.
course I'm gonna
So wait,
do
when
it.
you did pediatrics, you were also doing adult at the same time?
everything.
Oh, I thought it's like
Yeah.
strictly just if it's
No.
a pediatric
No.
hospital. Oh,
They
okay,
did
so
offer
it's
me a
both.
contract in a pediatric hospital, and I declined it. I was like, oh, I can't.
Oh.
Because they did big stuff, like hearts and vascular, everything. So I was
Hearts
like,
for peds.
Yes.
Oh wow.
yeah,
Huh.
I wasn't comfortable with that. I was
Really?
like, no, I feel so bad. Yeah.
Listen, if there's somebody, let me know. Because I was really
Yes.
looking into peds. I'm like, you know what? I really want to get into hearts, but maybe not adult. But I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's something to think about.
Yep.
All right, good. Okay, so we kind of talked about this briefly, but tell me maybe pros and cons as a traveler. So what are your top pros being a traveler?
The pros. The
Pros.
top ones, of course, the money.
Of course, you
money.
gotta get the coins.
Yes, the money. Also, you change every 13 weeks. Sometimes they renew you. If they really like you and they think they still need you, they renew you.
So question, if you do renew, do you ask for more money?
I always did.
And do you get it?
Sometimes I did, sometimes I got a decrease. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Not a decrease?
Yes, because they kind of like tell you, oh, we don't have a big need right now and all the rates are going down. They give you the political answer
Okay.
as of like, oh, we don't have the money right now. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to go to another facility.
Yeah.
So they're like, wait, we'll match you. It's always
Stop!
it's a hustle. Yeah, it's a hustling game.
Wow. Wait, hold on. You negotiate this? Or
I
you-
always negotiate.
Oh, it's you, not
It's
your
me.
company.
The company's always trying to lowball you because the less they pay you, the more money they keep.
What the?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So I always hustle them, and a few times I got a decrease.
Uh-huh.
But when I looked at other contracts around the area, yeah, it was true. Everybody was getting paid less.
But it was still higher than if you were.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
So that's like the biggest pro. Another pro is you could switch any facility after 13 weeks. Let's say, oh, this facility is not good for me.
Right.
It's kind of like very toxic. I don't like the environment. The people are super mean.
How could you withstand that for 13 weeks?
You put in your mind, I'm only here 13 weeks and I will never see you again.
So it's a
Goodbye.
mental
It's a
game.
mental game. Correct. Yes. And
Wow.
that happened to me one time. And I was like, okay, I'm not comfortable here. I am not comfortable here, so let me just move on. And it was fine because I was like, I have 2 more weeks left.
Oh, it's the money.
It's the money, and it's also that you can move on to another facility.
Okay.
When you're staff, you're like kind of have to put up with certain things because you're staff and you have
Yeah.
your benefits and you have all these things that you're already like, I don't want to look for another job and start all over again. You know the amount of paperwork you have to do when you're staff.
Mhm.
So all those things kind of like you put it in perspective and you're like, okay, those are 2
Yeah.
big pros. If I don't like you, I'm out. Goodbye.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, do you ever think like so for 13 weeks you made that amount of money in comparison to a staff who could have made that in like 8 months, but you did it in 13 weeks. Would you take a break in the middle or go on vacation?
Yes,
Something.
I did that many times, and it wasn't like 13 weeks to 8 months. No, that's not like that either.
Mhm.
Perhaps 3 months. You make whatever you make in 8 months.
Right.
And I did take breaks. Every time that I got a new contract, I said, I am off these days, I'm not working these days, I'm off on vacation, and I will take my break, and that's it. So that's another pro.
Wow.
Like, you take your time. For December, we go away. I'm not working for 3 weeks. I don't want to start a contract until I come back. So that's really good. Because when you're staff, you have to, like,
File for
request,
PTO.
file for PTO.
It might be
file
denied.
Denied, and other people want to go on vacation too, and
Yeah.
then you went last year, so now it's my turn. So
And seniority too.
and seniority. Yes. Oh, you just got here. You're gonna take Christmas call or whatever.
It happened to me.
So-
I was new and then nope, I
Me
was
too.
always at the end of the line.
Me too. That we all go through that.
Yeah.
We have to pay our dues, like I
Of
said.
course, we sure did. But that's a great pro.
Yes. And so those 3 pros. The cons is like I said. You could be terminated immediately for whatever reason. Sometimes you won't find contracts that you like. around your area, and perhaps you have to go to another state or like 4 hours from here, and they will affect your family life.
Of course.
Some other contracts are strictly overnight. Some other, you know, you always have to hustle for the rates and to keep the same money. And one thing I really didn't like was that I had to stress like at 13 mark actually and see if this facility wants to renew or do I have to move on. So I have to start looking for other opportunities.
Wait, they don't look for your
If your recruiter is really good, they do, but most of them don't because they have so many techs and nurses. So they're not gonna be like, oh, okay, let me see if Jackie needs another contract is done. So they don't do that unless you're like a private contractor. You have to tell them I'm done in 2 weeks. Find me something. So it's kind of like that was like the biggest down for me. Yeah, no, I did not, because I like my routine a lot because I have a very busy life. So I like to know where I'm going. I like to know what I'm doing next month and plan. I'm a planner, so I plan my vacation, my son's birthday, etc. So that was one of the things I really didn't. I got tired about that after a while.
And how long again did you?
2 years.
And you're okay now being a staff?
I do because I used to work at this particular facility before, and I know a lot of people there, and I've always liked how everything is in order, everything is super organized, you don't get forgotten, like they don't forget about you. Like as a traveler, sometimes they would be like, oh, I didn't know you were still here, and they wouldn't send you relief, they wouldn't really get you up for lunch, and if you were on call, they would just leave you there. They didn't even have the decency of telling you, hey, you're on call today, you don't have to stay, or you have to stay, take a 15-minute break. They didn't do that. Most of the facilities as a traveler. In this particular place I am right now, they're very respectful with that.
Oh, that's nice.
And the call, there's so many texts, so we kind of like split the call. So you take all this call that is mandatory, but you barely get called in, or you barely have to stay. So
so you guys are fully staffed.
Fully staffed.
That's really like unheard of, because I've been to so many facilities too, and none of them are really staffed.
Well, the thing is that this facility is very smart in the sense of like they pay you a little bit more than most.
Oh wow.
And they give you, like when I went for my interview, I said I want to work 3 12s, this day, this day, this day. Is that okay? And the manager was like, absolutely.
Wow.
And we're gonna give you a signing bonus.
Wow. Are you hiring?
Yes.
Let me know about this thing, because you know sometimes for like as I've progressed in my career, I find that sometimes. For me, sometimes it's not the money. Sometimes I'm looking for a management that cares.
Yes.
Because I love my breaks. I need to eat.
Yes.
I need to be able to leave on time when my shift is over.
Yes.
Those are like the two things that I'm now looking forward to. Because back then I was young, I was getting all the calls, I was doing all whatever back-breaking stuff, heavy stuff. I was doing that, but I got burnt out easily.
Yes.
And I started to jump into different facilities to see like, oh my god, this place was actually worse than where I was. And then you jump to another one and you appreciate how much the facility actually cares at some point. So would you say sometimes it's not about all the money?
And I agree with you. Sometimes it's not about the money. I also got really burnt out, especially with a traveler. And I felt like I'm older now. I have other plans. I need to be able to have somebody who cares and don't forget about me. Or just, I don't have to beg, hey, give me lunch.
Oh my god, I did that.
You know, because it's like in other facilities I have to beg. Like I have to
It's
call
a terrible feeling.
I'm like, I leave at 3, it's 1:30. When do you think I could eat? I've been in this room since 6:45.
No, they're just gonna be like, oh, can you just finish the case and you can leave at 2:30 since you leave at 3.
And to me that rubbed me the wrong way, because the nurses get their breaks like easy and on the clock. Like they never skip a break. Why can't you do that for me?
Yeah.
Oh, we don't have enough text. Oh, you have enough text. Some of them are like, you have them busy doing other things.
Yeah.
And
like backstocks.
Yeah. Or you're doing, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, Sisto, that is really late.
Putting stuff away, or they're just sitting on the break room.
Right.
So it's
oh my god, I was in that type of environment.
Right. So this place is a little bit, it's not perfect. No
of course,
place is.
not.
But it's better in that sense. Like I get my lunch on time. I work 12, so I get my lunch, and then I get a coffee break, and then I get a dinner break.
Oh wow! Listen, did you know in Florida it's not mandatory for a facility to give a breakfast break? Did you know that?
Yes, I found that out when I was complaining about how I was stuck in a room and nobody
from like
came.
7 to lunch.
From 7 to lunch, and they said it's not mandatory, and they even said it's not even mandatory for you to have a lunch break.
Who said that?
Yeah, and I said, well, that's illegal.
That's
that's
like
true.
labor law.
Yes, they said, oh, it's on the paper.
No, it's not.
Lunch is a luxury. I was like,
no, it's not.
And I was like,
I know they lied.
I was like, well, this person, when I said, I think my lawyer would think differently.
You better.
And she was like, backed off. And
How she gets a lunch though?
oh, an hour lunch.
Of
But
course,
we
she
don't.
gets a lunch.
And I think that's one of the things where you get burned out easily.
That's where-
As a tech.
So I've been in other facilities where we do breakfast
Mhm.
and lunch, right?
Mhm.
We relieve each other and whatnot. And then I went to a different one where I was expecting a breakfast lunch and nobody came for me, and I was new. So I'm over here like, I'm getting hangry.
Yes.
And so when I got out of my case, I went to my charge. I'm like, nobody gave me breakfast this morning. He goes, what are you talking about? Like, we don't do breakfast here. I'm like, what do you mean? I was there from like 7 o'clock till 11:30. No one got me nothing.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, we don't do breakfast. And that's when I like searched the Florida labor law.
Yes.
It's not mandatory.
It's not. It's
That
not.
is so sad.
It is sad. And it's for me, it kind of works because I do like the fasting diet.
Yeah.
So for me, it's okay. But by 11:30, I'm hungry. But you guys, you also are going to learn that in between cases, you have a little bit of time. While they're
You
cleaning
take
the room,
advantage.
You take advantage. It takes them 15 to 20 minutes to clean the rooms.
Not in my facility.
So my facility is fast. They're
If
like,
it's back to back to back, no way. 20 minutes.
yes.
More like 10.
More like, no, 15 to 20 minutes depending. But this facility, like in 8 minutes, they're done.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, by the time they wheel out the patient, you take your instruments and you run. You have time for a shake.
Right.
You have time to get a little bite.
I think that's why I have stomach issues, because we just love to just
We
gobble.
yeah, that's why. It's
That's so bad.
it's so bad.
A lot of us have like,
Yeah.
we gobble our food in like less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, and I've learned to eat so fast that now when I go to restaurants,
Me too.
my friends are like, "Okay, slow down.
You do that too?
Like you eat so fast," and I'm like, "Oh, I'm just used to it. I'm a scrub tech. I'm sorry. I eat really fast."
You should see my charge nurse.
Yeah.
She doesn't chew her food. It's like just one bite,
And
just
swallow.
one bite and just swallow. And I'm like looking at her. I'm like, are you okay?
Yeah.
She was like, I gotta go. I'm like, just chew your food. I don't have time.
Yes.
So it's sad.
It's sad.
It's really sad.
Right.
So when you find a facility that cares, that's a lot.
Yeah, they care, and it's still a little crazy because it's very, very busy, but they do give you the breaks. So to me, I find that respectful.
Right.
And then they turn over really quick, 8 to 10 minutes, sometimes 15. If it's in the afternoon, 15 to 20 minutes,
Yeah.
because everybody's gone,
Yeah.
and the afternoon people are more chill.
Yeah.
And that's when I take my coffee break. But this facility has so many nurses, more than 10.
Yeah.
So they tell you, go take your break, coffee break or whatever. Take
they'll
20
set
minutes,
up
and
your
they start
stuff.
opening your stuff.
I love that.
And that's why I chose to go back to this facility. And also the call is not as bad. And they have so many texts. They have texts overnight. They have texts on the weekend.
What time is overnight? 7
So over
p.m.?
11 p.m. to 7 a.m.
But that's it. That's all their shifts is 11 to.
Yes.
So there's really no need for a call.
No, but
'Cause
sometimes if there's a crazy emergency, they will call you. But you'll
okay.
be called too, so they'll call you, but very rarely.
So question. So your night shift, they're there. They're not like on call. They're there.
They're there.
Okay.
They're there. And there are people that work, I leave at 7. There's people that leave at 9 or 11.
Yeah.
They do 11 to 11. So it works. You always have relief. You don't get
Wow.
stuck there.
So 312s, and how many calls a week?
So 312s, and it's twice a week. And usually the manager tells you, okay, you have to take the 7 to 11 call. So if anything, you'll finish your case and most likely go home unless there's something else going on. Because they put that call, like, oh, I don't have anyone to relieve you. So you're on call anyway. I need you to finish the case because you're on call. So it's fine.
Okay.
So sometimes you finish 7:30, 7:45, 8 o'clock. It's not so bad. So you're like, oh, okay, I just put my stuff away and just go home. And then you check with the front desk, do you need me? Most of the times, 90%, no, go home.
What about weekends?
So the weekends I take, it's usually either 24 hours or you can split it.
Split.
12. I do 12 because I live a little bit far
Okay.
and I don't like overnight call because I'm not like once I go to sleep, I go to sleep, that's it.
You can't
I don't
wake
hear
up. You
I
can't
can't
wake
hear
up.
the phone and I would miss the call. So in
Yeah.
order to avoid that,
Mhm.
I do 7 a to 7 p. And sometimes you do get called in, but it's 4 hours, 3, nothing big. So you
Okay.
still have the rest of your day. And if it hits 5:30, you're like, okay, they're not calling me, so.
That's
It
not
works.
bad,
It's
actually.
not bad.
It's just I get really like bad palpitations when I'm like sitting there like with my phone.
Yes.
If I'm doing something, like they would call. That's
It's so stressful.
so stressful.
And that was one of the things with the traveling. Like, I was like, oh my God, I can't plan anything because I know they're going to call me. And sure enough, they will call me the day before.
Oh, that's good. What?
Sometimes they will call me the day before. We have 5 cases.
So then
for
it's not
tomorrow.
really an emergency. It's a
It
scheduled.
is not emergency.
It's scheduled.
And when
Well,
I
it's
was,
emergency.
and when I would show up there, I was like, this is not an emergency. I'm sorry, a robotic case.
Not a robot case on a
One
weekend.
day I did 5 robots and 3 hips. I worked 16 hours that day, nonstop.
5
And
robots.
Yes, I was like, and I was alone. He didn't have, this particular doctor didn't have a PA or a resident.
So it's all you.
nothing. It's just all me.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, you know.
Wait a minute. Your first call, second call, there's no second call?
No, in that other facility, no. You're it. You're on call the whole day, 24 hours.
Well, that's not nice.
That is not nice.
Usually in other facilities,
Right.
there's 2 types of calls.
No, not here. And I said it to them, and I said, listen, I think you should have someone.
Second team.
Second team. They said, no, we don't have enough people. I'm like, go get more travelers. No. So it was that some stuff, the management I didn't like, because I was like, okay, you guys are not even open to ideas. So,
Yeah.
okay, this is why you need travelers.
Pretty sure
You
it's
can't keep your
not a
staff.
budget issue because
It's not a budget issue.
it's
They
not.
just don't know how to manage things, and that's
Yeah.
why they don't keep their staff. And you know,
Yeah,
so on.
retention.
But you move on.
But that's what it is.
It's
That's why it's only 13 weeks.
It's only 13 weeks. You move on,
It's
and
like
then
that.
you find something that you love. And
Well,
then you
I'm
feel
glad that
confident.
you're in a facility that truly
Yes.
cares. That's nice.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the last one about everything about travel. Any advice to those who want to seek travel as a scrub? So, if someone were to come up to you and be like, "Hey, I've been a scrub for a year. I want to go travel." What would you say that? Or even like a student that's like ready to travel.
I would tell them that it's worth it. It's worth it with the money. And like I said, the contracts, you can always switch, but you also have to take into consideration how your lifestyle is, and if you have the support, if you have children, if you're single and you don't have nothing to do, hey, it's the best
Why
thing.
not?
Why not? I mean, you go to different facilities, different states, and you meet new people, and you never know, perhaps you land a job that you really love and you stay there. It's happened to many people.
Yes.
But if you have other responsibilities, you have to have that support system with your husband, your wife, your partner, and you sit down with them and you ask them and tell them, this is what it is. Can we do this?
Yeah.
For a little bit of period. It's always, you can also see it as a push, right? Oh, we're gonna do a 13-week push so we can get this money and use it for whatever. So it depends on your situation. But I encourage people to do travel at least for a year so they could experience different things. And you see that sometimes where you work is not as bad as other places. And like I said, you meet new people and you also get very skilled. So I encourage people to do Traveler, not only for the money, but also for the experience. You get really, really seasoned when you travel. So I recommend it. I think it's great. And if you can do it, I think go for it. But make sure you have your experience because you will be thrown there.
Yeah.
You won't get any kind of like, I'm not saying that it's like that in every facility, but
no one's gonna babysit you. Actually.
They won't babysit you. They assume you're a traveler, you know it all, goodbye.
Right.
And it could be very tough because if you come from a facility that you're pampered and they're like, oh, I'll get you your coffee break or whatever. You go as a traveler, they don't even relieve you for lunch and then it's a shock. So be open-minded to all of those cons. But on the other side, I think everybody should do travel.
She recommends it, guys.
I recommend it, but keep in mind everything that comes along with it.
Yeah, because no one really talks about like the hardship that comes with it. Because everyone is just like, go do it. It's a lot of money and stuff. But this is why we're having this discussion because she has all the experience, and I want you to keep an open mind that just because it's this much, you gotta back it up with experience and
dedication.
Yeah.
You cannot call out, guys. You cannot call out. You are there, okay?
Right.
Being a traveler is more strict.
Yeah.
You have to show up. You have to be willing. You cannot complain about the room that you're assigned. They tell you you're doing an A-lift today with so-and-so. You're going there. You say, yes, ma'am, and you go. You cannot be like, I don't want to be in that room.
Or, I don't know how to do it.
Oh, I can't do it. They're like, really? Your paper
really?
says
Here's your paperwork. You said you do it.
that you are experienced. And guys, never lie in your application. It will come back to you.
Oh my God, I actually had like a mentor that told me about travel. It's this guy that's been doing it for a while. And you know what he told me? He said, just click yes to everything. Click proficient in all of it. And I'm like, but I'm not proficient on this one. No, just say it so that it markets you better. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm gonna put myself in a really bad situation. He's like, no, it's okay. You tell them that you're not that good at it, but you're willing to do it. And I said, I understand that, but you're telling me to put all proficient. So it's like, just do it. That's when I'm like, oh no, red flag.
I don't recommend that. I mean, I've seen people do it. However, I have relieved travelers in rooms that did that because the surgeon was yelling at them so bad because they didn't know what they were doing and they were travelers. But you said you know how to do this and you're clueless, get out of my room, and then I have to go rescue. So I don't recommend it. Always be honest.
Yeah.
And what I always put is, I don't know how to do it, but I'm willing to learn. So that's what I recommend you do in an application. It would always come back to you. And no one is there at that table but you. You're gonna feel the pressure. They put you to do this big case and you have no idea. You don't know the instruments, you don't know.
It's terrible.
Like vascular, a lot of people are like, I know vascular. And I go, great, let's go. Set it up.
Yeah.
They're clueless. They don't know what a vessel loop is. They don't know what rubber shots are. And I'm like, I thought you said you knew. Don't lie. Be honest, because it always comes back to you.
Yeah.
And the surgeons notice.
Oh, and they complain.
And they go to the front desk and
Of
they
course.
say, that person you have in there, I don't want in my room ever again. So don't
That's
lie,
probably
guys.
gonna come back to your company too, right?
Absolutely, they complain. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of people get terminated, or perhaps don't get terminated, but they don't get renewed. They're like, oh,
Because of the lying.
she lied and she says she know all this and she doesn't know anything.
Right.
And I've seen a lot of travelers like that too. They know, I know it all. You put them in a room and they're freaking out. So,
and another traveler is
Right, and
is rescuing them.
and I rescue, or another traveler, or a staff member. So it's kind of like an embarrassing situation.
That is very embarrassing. It's a lot of pressure to be put in a case that you absolutely have not only you don't know the instruments, you don't know the case, you don't
Right.
know.